So I'm sitting here at a rest area just outside of Crossville, Tennessee. um, I had an issue with my alternator on the way up. My connection at the battery for my charge wire wasn't getting a good connection, so the battery almost died. Bought an alternator thinking that was it because the AutoZone I stopped at didn't have a way to check my charging system. So I went ahead and bought an alternator. And when I pulled the charge wire off the back of the alternator, noticed it didn't have any power. So fixed that, kept the alternator. I had bought some wiring and some terminals because I needed to make a little jumper wire for the igniter on the alternator because I run a GM one-wire alternator. The one that I have is done internal. There's no jumper on it, so I was needing to make a jumper. So I bought some wire and some terminals and stuff. So when I finally figured out the charging issue, I told the guy at AutoZone I was just going to hang on to it just in case. You never know when you might have a problem. If I did have an issue with the alternator, I'd already have it. So last night, got done with Cletus and cars. Everything was fine. I do have an issue with my ignition switch now. It won't start the car, so I got to get out and jump the starter. Or jump the solenoid at the starter. So last night I stopped after I left Cletus and cars, got me something to eat, got back in the car, and it would spin over about once. And so luckily there was a guy that was checking the car out in the parking lot. He had some jumper cables. We jumped it off, and I drove for about 2 hours, and the lights never got dim or anything, so I think I might have a bad battery. Got tired last night, was rubbernecking it pretty good, eyes were pretty heavy, and so I decided that I needed to stop. Pulled into a rest area. Everything seemed fine. Shut it off, went to sleep, woke up about 1 o'clock this morning, and tried to crank it, and the battery's dead. It does the same thing. It'll spin over about one revolution, and that's about it. So I made a post on Facebook, and which it's 6 o'clock in the morning now, or well, almost 7 I think now. I did get some decent rest in the car. When I got to thinking about it, I have my impact from doing my tire change over in Cletus and cars. I've got a 18 volt Milwaukee fuel impact. So got on YouTube just to see if anybody has tried that, and there's been a few that have. And I have that wire, and I have a battery. So it's got 3 bars on it. I had that wire. I went ahead and doubled it up just to make sure that if this is going to work, we're going to give it one shot and see what happens. But first, so on the YouTube videos that I've watched, people are just saying that their battery was dead, and then they hook the battery up and then they crank their car. They never show their battery actually being dead, or the one that I watched. So I'm going to show y'all how this thing is cranking, and it's sprinkling out too. So I'm going to show y'all how this thing is cranking, and then we're going to hook this thing up. Yeah, my key. Hardly nothing. Well, I heard it arcing. Now that is awesome. So, I guess for people that are building their projects, I would say always keep a Milwaukee 18 volt battery with you. Mine is a Lithium 5.0, not a big battery, but my car runs. Oh, should have thought about that last night. All right. So, guess we're gonna get on the road. Actually, we're gonna get on the road and find a parts store, see if we can figure out what if it's the charging issue, if it's the battery or what. But it's daylight out now, so I really don't need anything for power wise. I mean, the motor runs without any kind of battery, so